Hello, fellow Amazonians. This is David from One Apollo with another topic about Amazon. Today, let's talk and discuss a bit about whether is it the end for resellers on Amazon. So, I've been looking on the forums and there's been a couple discussions lately where sellers, big sellers that resell a lot of things on Amazon have been being flagged for supplier verification, where they require a supply chain custody of documents to prove that they are buying from authentic channels or from authentic suppliers. And this is all in an effort to weed out counterfeits and unverified suppliers on Amazon to protect, I guess, the authenticity of the products being sold on the platform. And a lot of these people are saying that they're being targeted because they do a lot of sales. And I'm sure most of these sellers do not sell at the recommended retail price. That's why they're getting a lot of sales. And that's most likely the reason why they're getting shut down, because they're not buying from the brand themselves, most likely. They're buying from like a wholesaler, and the wholesaler usually have a recommended retail price they have to sell for the products that these brands sell to them. But then if they resell it, like the wholesalers resell it to these Amazon sellers, they don't have to follow those retail prices. But the thing is, when Amazon asks them for documentation to prove that they're buying from a verified supply chain, these wholesalers and these brands are probably not giving it to them or not supporting them. So that's probably why they're being shut down. But let's just go through some of these discussions real quick, and then we'll break down and discuss more about what's going on here. And we have one seller saying, open letter to Amazon. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the tremendous and historic opportunity Amazon has given me over these last 8 years. I've been able to support my family, for which I am forever grateful. Recently, Amazon has been targeting longtime sellers, mainly resellers, sellers trading other brands' products. These sellers are prompted to attend a video meeting where they are asked to provide the chain of custody for certain items to prove that they're suitable, a euphemism Amazon uses for either stolen or suspect items, though no one really knows. Even after providing the requested documentation, often after months of waiting and not knowing if Amazon will shut down their account, Amazon arbitrarily decides whether the seller can continue selling or not. They usually respond that they cannot verify a supplier, and under Section 3, they deactivate the seller's account. And deactivating an account includes seizing all the goods and funds because they provided documents from an unverifiable suppliers. And that's one thing that most people or new sellers don't know, is that if Amazon does see you violate their terms and conditions and they shut your account down, all the funds, inventory are seized and you no longer have access to them. And there was a couple of years ago, I think it's believed during COVID, because a lot of big Chinese companies, we have an office in China, and I would drive by these big brands, like they have office buildings in Shenzhen, and these brands I saw were their accounts were seized, and I'm talking millions of dollars, because they were doing a lot of fake product reviews, and they eventually got caught, and there was like tens of millions of dollars were seized. So they do take your money if you break their rules, or if you break your rules and get caught, that is. Anyways, moving on. People who have been selling for many years, trying to eke out an honest living, find themselves seemingly at the whims of an algorithm. They wake up one day and they find they are out of business, with all their money and inventory held. They have to fire their employees, they can't pay their vendors, they can't pay their loans, and they have inventory that cannot be sold. Then it impacts their personal lives. Mortgages can't be paid, bills are delinquent, and their lives are ruined. Many years of work are eradicated in a moment, with no one to speak to. When calling Amazon for help, often the well-meaning employees are powerless to assist, as it is beyond their scope. This has put third-party sellers who have not been affected yet in a bind. If they buy from an unverified supplier, they risk having their account deactivated, with money and inventory held. This essentially kills their business, which many people rely on. And like all businesses, there are risks, right? And if you're not buying from the brand directly, then you do have that risk of being an unverified supplier, especially if you're undercutting everyone for the buy box. They'll be suspicious, and they'll most likely check you for to be a verified supplier and chain of custody for certain products. That's quite evident here, and I think most likely from reading this that the age of just buying things and reselling, it's over for Amazon at least. So let's just go back to this. Here's some takeaways. Firstly, it's incumbent on Amazon to find a verified supplier. Quite frankly, I would say it's obvious that if you're buying from the brand, then you're most likely safe. If your invoice is the brand, like let's say you're selling, I don't know, Disney figurines, and your invoice has Disney on it, then most likely you're getting it from a verified supplier. Otherwise, I would say you're probably going to be, at a lot of risk if you're just buying from some random company. Moving on, though. Number two, I assume that Amazon is rightfully trying to weed out bad actors. If that's the case, the Amazon suspect one of our products comes from an ill-gotten source, we are happy to work with Amazon and the authorities to find the culprits, as opposed to ambiguously suspecting us to be bad actor and hold my funds and inventory indefinitely. And I think this is just Amazon being pressured into taking action against counterfeits. It's a big problem. Counterfeits is on every platform, and sometimes they just take the axe, and if they see you as unnecessary and on the platform, if the brand's already selling the product, and most likely if it's a big brand, Amazon wants to sell pull them to the vendor and just sell the products themselves. So you are just bystanders in the crosshairs of the law that Amazon is trying to enforce. And that's unfortunate, but that's just how the world works. Manufacturer malpractice. What also seems to be happening, even after providing documentation, is that manufacturers won't corroborate that these sellers are authorized because they are not on the list of authorized vendors. Moreover, we believe that manufacturers, in an effort to control prices, have weaponized Amazon's policy by complaining to Amazon that the sellers, which are competing on price, are bad actors who purchase from ill-gotten sources. Even though there is zero evidence, this does not mean that the goods are stolen. It just means the manufacturers are unhappy. All right, so from first-hand experience, manufacturers try to control the price of how their products are sold. They hate it when prices are really cheap online because it usually makes the retailers angry, because they sell to retailers. Let's say I remember I was looking at a knife company that we were gonna represent, and their Amazon prices were like $20-$30, like maybe 30-40% lower than their retail price that the retailers, let's say like Turner's Outdoors, the retail shops are selling for. And obviously Turner's not going to be happy. The retail shop's not going to be happy that their customers can buy online for 30-40% less. So that's why they wouldn't want to cooperate and try to help these resellers sell on Amazon, because these sellers are not bind to the contracts of these brands where they have to follow the minimum retail price. So when they undercut the market, then if they have the opportunity to cut them out, the manufacturers are more than likely going to look the other way and not help these resellers. So I totally understand why the manufacturers are doing this, because there are structures they put in place downstream of their business. And these resellers are essentially not breaking, but not following these structures they've put in place to protect retail. So, I mean, that's why they're not helping them. Moving on, 5. If Amazon has changed its policies and wants to eliminate third-party sellers and have only authorized distributors and/or direct manufacturers on their platform, then tell us. That way, we can part ways instead of luring more unsuspecting sellers into essentially a trap by allowing them to sell, build cash, inventory, and one day turn off the spigot. That's a fair point, because technically These resellers are not breaking the law. They're not. There's no law for where resellers can't sell at a recommended price set by manufacturers. If they can get it at a cheaper price from a wholesaler, they technically can resell at any price. That's a really fair point. It's the manufacturer's job to find out who the bad actors are and stop selling to them. But I always say you can't stop commerce. It's so hard to find out which of your distributors are selling to these resellers, and then who in turn are undercutting the market price that are set by the manufacturers. So this is true, but again, if you're a reseller, you know the risk of being vulnerable to this, and you have to take the risk like in any business. All right, number 6. If this is the case and the deal market third-party sellers are over, please make an official announcement with ample time for us to part ways amicably with our money and inventory so we can move on from Amazon, as opposed to holding our inventory and slowly depleting the funds left in Amazon by charging for storage, etc. Yeah, I agree. But like I said, there's risk to every business. But you're not wrong. I speak for many longtime sellers affected by this latest purge, representing hundreds of millions of dollars in annual sales. Many of them have had their lives and livelihoods ruined by what seems to be an overcorrection. We are essentially victims of the bad actors being cast in the broad net with them. We would love to continue selling on Amazon, and unfortunately I believe Amazon and third-party sellers' interests are aligned. We want to work with Amazon to root out the bad actors too, and the sources, so we can clean up the marketplace. In conclusion, we urge Amazon to work collaboratively with the sellers to establish clear guidelines and transparent processes. By doing so, we can protect both the integrity of the marketplace and livelihoods of those who depend on it. Together, we can ensure that Amazon remains a trusted and vibrant platform for all. So here's my takeaway. I think Amazon vendor has a goal to work with all the brands to sell on their own platform. They prefer that they buy directly from these manufacturers and sell it themselves, and they'll obviously market it themselves. They don't like it when resellers sell a certain branded products, because that way Amazon doesn't make as much money, right? And I've noticed, I have an account with we have a client that's a distributor, and they're having a hard time selling their branded their clients, like their manufacturers' products that they represent on Amazon, because Amazon vendor keeps trying to cut them out. Amazon vendor is trying to cut out the distributor so they can go directly to the brand, and that way they can offer the brand's products on Amazon directly without going through the distributor. And I've had to deal with some targeted malicious actions from Amazon vendor against our client's Seller Central account. Can't be specific, but what happened was the Amazon vendor was going directly to this brand, offering to carry their products and buy from them directly instead of having the distributor supply the vendor account. And when the supplier agreed to do so, or the brand agreed to do so, they shut down our client's Seller Central account for that brand. And not only did they shut it down, they wiped the entire account. We removed brand registry from the account. They wiped out all the A+ content. They wiped out all the listings and just cleaned house all the listing data. The inventory's still there. It was just stranded, but all the content was gone. And they said it was for listing, variation policy violation. Right, a variation policy violation with good account health justified wiping clean the entire account. I've dealt with deactivated accounts before, but never to that degree of just wiping out all the data. And we found out that Amazon vendor was trying to set up the those listings for the manufacturer they went direct to on the vendor side. So they probably just want the brand rights and create those variations themselves and just wiped out our client's Seller Central account. We got it back up in no time. I mean, like a couple days, because the account was in good health. It was about 200 for account health. It was a relatively new account, but we had to rebuild the entire account, and we lost brand rights from the registry. But yeah, there's no incentive for Amazon to work with these resellers. They want to go direct. All right, let's go into another forum. It's been a good run. Time for a change. Been a reseller for over 8 years. The last couple have been the absolute worst. Amazon will always find a way to ruin your business, either through undermining fair practice guidelines and through gouging you with endless increasing fees, while revenues and margins drop year on year. Amazon has over the years morphed from an online retailer, e-tailer, into a direct-to-consumer marketplace, and that will soon be filled with direct brand suppliers and cheap direct from Chinese manufactured goods, or as I like to call it, the Alibabazation of Amazon. In other words, the days of being a reseller on Amazon are long over. The metrics of a retail marketplace will allow fair margins for resellers, wholesalers, to bring goods to the market for a profit by the retailer. When a platform like Amazon undermines this process, mainly by price manipulation, the wholesaler will lose his shirt in the process, since Amazon will no longer abide to sell goods by the manufacturer/publisher suggested retail prices. In fact, many resellers abandoned this practice decades ago, which in effect kills distribution and wholesale companies in general, while giving rise to direct-to-consumer brands companies. A reseller cannot buy at wholesale price and sell at a wholesale price to the consumer and still be in business. In this rare event, a merchandise item is sold at the true retail price. Amazon then kicks it with endless fees, leaving the wholesaler reseller with negative or break-even margins. This has been a vicious cycle, underpinning the reason that for many resellers to close operations on ranking, inventory processing delays, inventory restrictions, and added expenses by utilizing third-party apps software, because Amazon is too lazy or incompetent to improve upon its own platform. And to all of this, hordes of untrained, unsavvy new sellers who all but tank even the most profitable niches or products in an endless race to the bottom to win the buy box at any cost. I do regret not leaving sooner, as the lost opportunity costs in other industries would have been better for me personally. I know companies that were able to scale to millions in revenue and profits by going direct to consumer or dropshipping, etc. But it's all learning lessons anyways. Hope some of you don't make the same mistakes I made. Good luck. Again, I resonate with what this person is saying, what the seller has gone through. I mentioned this in the last discussion, that Amazon wants the brands to sell directly to the platform, and they want the vendor side, Amazon vendor side, to take it over. They will prefer that they control the listings on Amazon and make a profit while pushing those brands, those manufacturers' items on the platform themselves. They don't want resellers. They don't want wholesalers. They don't want distributors. They want to go direct to the manufacturer, and that is true. They're gonna help these manufacturers go D2C. So I do believe that the age of reselling, being the wholesaler or just being the middleman between the manufacturer and to selling to the consumer on Amazon, is over. There's no chance. They're going to cut you out. The manufacturers don't like it because they want to control the retail price on Amazon. And Amazon doesn't like it because they want to help the manufacturer to sell on Amazon themselves so they can make a profit instead of you, the reseller. So, yeah, it's true. It's no longer a good business. That business is gone. And I guess the only other way is building your own brand, sourcing your own products, making your own products, and be the manufacturer yourself. That's really the future of this. You have to be the person or the company that builds the brand and the products. And that way, Amazon will be the middleman for you to get all the customers to buy your products. And that's really the future of this industry. the days of reselling is long over, and it's a matter of time as technology gets better, information is readily available, and people can find manufactured directly and buy directly from them. It's that simple. And most consumers do prefer that, so they can deal with the warranty process easier. They just feel more safe, more less issues. So, yep. In conclusion, from this, the age of reselling things on Amazon is over. It's gonna be so hard for you. And if there is niche, I can't see the volume being scaled up very high. So, if you're considering reselling on Amazon, I would suggest not to do it. It's just I prefer you just put your money in building your own brand, sourcing or making your own products, and that's probably the best, the most long-term way of building your business and having less risk about it. Okay, and that's my 2 cents. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please do subscribe and leave a thumbs up. It takes very little effort from you. It makes a massive impact on how YouTube ranks my content. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.